Good morning, everyone. Thank you for watching. So I've got an update for you guys on this big week ahead we've got in terms of weather. We have a few storm systems that are really going to try and get going pretty soon. But the main one is this low pressure system that's trying to, form something in the Gulf of Mexico. I don't think that it's going to form anything because it does now look like that this is going to be a lot weaker than what it used to look like. So it's looking like that you're just going to have a pretty big rainstorm that's going to deliver a few inches of rain to the Gulf Coast, but we're still going to track that system today. We've got a severe weather potential, not high. It's just a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather in kind of this area, and we're also going to be tracking those today. And then you do have a little bit of precipitation that's been moving across the northwestern states. So we're going to track all these different storm systems in today's update. So make sure you stay tuned, and we'll get into the update. So we're going to now move on to our alerts, as we always do, and we're just going to check out, what's what with around the country. You could see that the main part, kind of, when I say main part, I mean like, the most areas impacted by the same kind of alert is this hydraulic outlook. It has been very dry across, like these states here of the Northwest. I know you do have this storm system that's moving across the Northwest states, but there is some very dry conditions out here, especially for you guys in Minnesota and Wisconsin, as we saw, like a week or two ago, where everything seemed to just stop and we have no storm systems that have been moving through. So that's going to cause some droughts. So you have some hydraulic outlooks for Florida. Florida is in a drought. So far it's not too bad, but we could really use some help on that. We got northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. You guys are in that as well. And then, just across the central U.S. in general, and this big swath of the eastern U.S. and the western U.S. has been in this like fire danger risk, especially here in Montana. You've got high wind warnings that are out for many parts of the state, and then you've also got that hydraulic outlook that's issued from the National Weather Service. That's all going to be in effect at the same time. So that's just showing that fire conditions are, critical for, daily weather. I guess if you want to put it that way. So lucky for us in the Northeast, this freeze warning and I believe freeze watch, this just got taken down like a few minutes. But a few minutes after, I think it might have been a few minutes before I started this update. So now this is only out for the border of North Carolina and some of Southern Virginia. And then this blue here, I believe that this is a freeze watch. I'm not completely sure about that, but it's still going to be it's still going to be pretty chilly out there in the mornings. I know yesterday morning it was very cold up here in the Northeast. It was probably around the freezing marks of 32 degrees, but then got a little warmer in the daytime. Today's a lot nicer. It's going to be in the 60s and 70s for most of the country, so we'll look at that as well. So that's pretty much it for your alerts. Then we're just going to look at these temperatures real quick. So for today, the eastern U.S., like I said earlier, it's going to start out pretty chilly. Here's where that freeze watch is and freeze warning. You've got temperatures just above 40 degrees, and that kind of explains why there's a freeze potential, because you also have some like precipitation that's been moving through there. Excuse me. So maybe some some frosty conditions out there as well, because you don't really see, frozen. You don't really see water freezing on those roadways until you dip into the 20s. So I think it's more of a frosty kind of day out there for you, or morning, I should say. But then here you do, as the day goes on, you do get, even more into the 30s. So this is 33 here in this small mountain range, but even this area surrounding those mountains, you guys are in the lower 30s. And you get all the way into like the upper 20s. So maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you will have some frozen conditions out there, if you want to put it that way. But then here we go. This is 1 p.m. today. You're past noon, and it's 58 degrees. New York City, Nebraska, you guys are staying at a nice 69 degrees around that area. And then Kansas, you guys are staying in the upper 60s, and some places could get into the lower 70s today. Texas, for you guys, it's pretty widespread 70s and 60s. Like I said, pretty much everyone in the eastern U.S. is going to be in the 60s and 70s. There's just some spotty areas where you could have a little struggle, getting into those warmer temperatures. But New York City is looking like you guys could get up to 61 degrees, and then these temperatures will die back down. So you can see it's kind of interesting to see. This is your warm front here, and then it pushes northeastward when the daytime comes in, and then when the evening comes in, and then the night it kind of cycles back, and then the warm front retreats back into the more southern areas, so that there's a little bit of warm air left, or a little bit of cold air left that can kind of flow right into these northeastern states, but mainly just the upstate regions, and then also some parts of the north central. So it's kind of interesting to look at. We're in a weird kind of time where the mornings and the nights are very cold. They can be very, very cold, and you can dip into the 30s in some places, like we're seeing here for these mountain regions, into the 20s. But then the daytime hours, you're getting into the 60s, 70s, and some places the 80s. So it's pretty weird, but if you break it down, like what we have a little, I guess you could call it a diagram here, you can break it down and then realize how it kind of works. So let me just erase all this, and then we can continue to the overnight hours of today with your temperatures. So let me erase all this for you guys. 1 second. Yeah, so my computer's a little glitchy today. I don't know what's up with this, but we'll try and get this going a little bit more. But you can see it's just gonna get a little bit more chilly from here. Everyone is in the 40s and the 50s. Even you guys in the Northeast, I feel like you guys in the Northeast are pretty much the same as the Central U.S. in terms of temperatures. But you guys are gonna be baking, both of you, late. I mean, mid to late week. It's gonna be you're gonna get temperatures into the 80s for areas far north than what we should be seeing. So there's gonna be some widespread above average temperatures, but it looks like your lows for tonight will probably be in the 40s for most of you, and then for areas further south, it'll probably be in the 60s. And then obviously here in southern Florida and central Florida, you'll be in the upper 60s. So we're going to move on now to the western U.S. So for temperatures, we're just going to look at the same thing. Excuse me, I've got a pretty bad cold today. But, we'll definitely be, kind of just see this kind of the same, temperature outlook for both the eastern U.S. and the western U.S. Okay, so the western U.S., there's the eastern U.S. and the western U.S. have their own little region where the temperatures get really hot. And so for the eastern U.S., it would probably be Florida. Western U.S., it'd probably be southern Texas, or the desert regions of California and Arizona. But it's going to get very hot today. You can see we'll get into 6 in the morning today. And you were at 71 degrees here in Southern California, but everyone else is in the 40s and the 30s, maybe even the 20s here for these mountain regions of Wyoming and Colorado. But it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool today, but then it's going to warm up pretty fast because you're getting into 11 a.m. and you're already seeing widespread 70s, 60s. All of California is in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And then these desert regions really start to heat, and you're going to start seeing temperatures surge into the upper 80s. So we are really going to continue watching this heat But I mean, this is because This is the reason why you had your hydraulic outlook posted or issued, I should say, from the National Weather Service. It's because everyone here is in the 70s and the 60s, and you've got a lot of snow melt with this, meaning that there's also flooding potential. Excuse me. But look at the desert regions. You guys are in the 90s for most of you. 94 degrees here in southern Arizona, but it's gonna get hot today. And then these temperatures finally start, like closing back in on the southern U.S. It's like exactly like how the eastern U.S. has it. So I'll write it out again here. So you've got the boundary of warm air, the surges northeastward, same direction as the northeast. And then once the colder air can come in because, the nighttime comes and, you don't have any sun, on the, like sun pointing to the western U.S., that allows cold air to flow into these northern states. So that pushes this warm air back, and then it cycles back farther south. So it's almost the same exact cycle as the eastern U.S. It's just a bit different because of kind of the mapping of these two regions. But it's a very interesting thing to talk about, and it's something that I really like to explain deeply on this channel, so everyone is kind of aware of how these weird times and with temperatures, how they work, and then why. So just very interesting to look at that. But we're not going to get into tomorrow's temperatures. We're going to leave that for a future update. And then we're going to move on to the Northwest for your HRRR model. I know we're, getting through this update with a lot of time, so we should be kind of rushing. I'm not going to rush, but, we should be getting this done pretty quickly. But you can see here you've got some showers and I wouldn't even say thunderstorms, but just some showers and rainy conditions off the coast. These are going to move onto the coast, bringing some rainfall, maybe some snowfall mixing in with that. And we can see once we get into the afternoon hours of tomorrow, you're going to start seeing that snowfall really, start getting a little bit more widespread. Excuse me. But I think tomorrow's the biggest snow day for you guys. But you're not going to see snowfall totals over an inch. It's just going to be some scattered snow showers, just from these rain showers that have turned over to snow showers because you've got colder conditions tomorrow, so the conditions are more favorable for some snow. But you'll definitely see some flurries out there for you guys. So it'll be, I wouldn't say wintry day because it is spring, but it'll be a pretty snowy morning and then eventually afternoon for you guys into the next 2 days. Excuse me, I got a really bad cold today. But then we're not going to get into the 12th because this is pretty far out, but you're still going to have some leftover showers, snow showers, I should say. But this is going to move off to the off to the east, and then you're also going to have the snow showers diminishing overnight. So we're going to move on now to the central U.S., and we're going to talk about the severe thunderstorm potential. Sorry, guys. Man, my cough is terrible today. But you can see here that we're already starting out in the morning hours because you're starting to see some moderate to strong thunderstorms that are going to be moving across the central Texas. But then those are going to diminish once we get into the afternoon hours, and then you get a new little batch of thunderstorms that's going to move across northern Missouri and southern Iowa. And then these will also possibly even form a tiny squall line here. As you can see here, I don't know if you want to say this is a squall line, but you do have a tiny line of thunderstorms that's showing up here. So maybe maybe a little bit of an elevated damaging wind threat, probably around 10 a.m. this morning. So like pretty much as I speak. But then these storms will diminish and then potentially form a more widespread area of thunderstorms that will be stronger And then those are going to move into Oklahoma. Southern Texas is also going to get hit by some storms. But then, these will continue into the evening hours and then into the nighttime hours. And you can see that you got some moderate to strong thunderstorms that can move through central to southern and maybe eastern Oklahoma. But, these shouldn't be anything you have to worry about. Sorry, I got away from that. I don't know why. But these are definitely not going to be strong. They're just going to be, some rounds of downpours, some lightning, some thunder, but no like hail, no tornadoes, none of that severe weather. It's just some moderate to strong thunderstorms that are, possible throughout this afternoon into this evening. So that brings us to our SPC and our, severe thunderstorm potentials. We're just going to look at today because this is the highest risk for severe thunderstorms today. You're only at a level 1 out of 5 risk. This is for some areas of northern Texas. This same area of central Oklahoma that we saw on the HRRR model there. This is the same area. It's just here on the severe weather percentages. And then this tiny area of southeastern Kansas, you guys also have that small severe weather potential. Tornado risk, you don't have any. Wind, you're only up to 5% risk, and then hail is also 5%. So nothing to be afraid of, nothing that you guys haven't experienced this year, but there's definitely a potential for some moderate to strong thunderstorms throughout today. All right, so we're gonna move on now to I believe this is southeast. Yeah, this is the southeast U.S. So we're just gonna kind of be looking at what's with you guys for today in the southeast. You've got some showers and thunderstorms that have been moving across just off the eastern shores of Florida, the Carolinas, and Georgia. Those weren't strong, but they actually have been. Some of these have been moving inland, at least trying to move inland on you guys, but they are just going to give some rain showers and some downpours localized. Flash flooding is also possible. But I mean, just a pretty widespread showers and thunderstorms throughout today. And we're just going to see the same thing, pretty much just all these, widespread scattered showers and thunderstorms out for the coastal regions. I don't think the inland regions are going to get nearly as much rain from this, I guess you could say from today than, what the coastal regions are going to see. But these could definitely turn into some thunderstorms. Maybe some rumbles of thunder and some lightning is possible, but nothing severe. There's no possible way that these could turn severe. But the strongest storms, if there would be thunderstorms like this, would definitely be here in southern Texas and southern Louisiana, and then some slightly stronger storms could potentially form just off the eastern coast of Florida. But the most attention is here in Louisiana, just because you have so much Gulf moisture here that's going to be fueling these systems and not the Florida system, because the Gulf of Mexico is right here, so it would only be able to fuel Western Florida, and now Eastern Florida is actually not part of the Gulf of Mexico, so it's really up to the Atlantic waters to kind of give energy to these storms off the coast of Eastern Florida. So it's just going to be a pretty rainy day today. I don't think you're going to see much sunshine. Unless you are inland, like I've said earlier, the storms are going to be off to the south. So you guys in the coastal region, it's going to be pretty cloudy all day. But then you guys, well inland, you guys will definitely be in the sun today. A pretty nice day for you guys. So we're just going to be looking at the tropics here. So this is going to be pretty quick. I'm just going to be giving you guys an update on the tropics here. We're not going to look at this too much just because I want to kind of get this update over with. But you can see that we're getting into 2 a.m. on the 12th. So I guess this would be Wednesday. So you're getting into Wednesday morning. And you're finally seeing this low pressure start forming just off the coast of, North Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, and southeastern Louisiana. But then this will actually be strong. I think this will be strong once you get into the afternoon hours of Wednesday. but then it will quickly die down if it potentially makes a landfall here in Florida and also parts of Georgia. But then this will try and re-intensify here. As you can see, you've got another low pressure system forming here, and you've got extreme rainfall rates here of like 2 to 4 inches of rain per hour here, just off the coast of Florida. But then this storm is going to just have to rely on the Atlantic waters, which are still not completely warm yet. These waters are actually, only about 60 degrees. So it is not, you're not going to have any energy left to fuel this system, whereas if it were to stay here in the Gulf of Mexico, it would probably be a lot stronger than what it's looking like it's going to be, because this is going to definitely move offshore and then make potentially a secondary landfall off the coast of the Carolinas. So it'll either move just off the coast of the mid-Atlantic, or it'll bail on the Carolinas and then just move right out to sea, kind of right to where this high pressure system is. But that's what we're going to look at today. So let's just skip ahead to what this is going to look like. And it does appear to be chasing this high pressure system here, and then it completely falls apart. So you've got nothing left. So the timing for this is Wednesday to Friday. The strength, it'll probably be a rainstorm that's gonna bring some drenching downpours to the coastal regions of southern Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and then some parts of Florida. And then it'll move off to the east into the Atlantic, and it will kind of just fall apart. So that's going to wrap up the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, share, comment, and subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. We'll see you guys in the next update. So we'll continue watching just this tropical disturbance that we've got going on over here, but then I don't expect any major changes with this in terms of if it could get stronger. But we'll obviously continue watching this. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next update.